Have you ever played a game going in not knowing what to expect, and then after completing it, it becomes one of your most beloved games of all time? For me, that game is The Last Guardian, a game released in 2016, developed by Team Ico, who are best known for their other titles such as Ico and Shadow of the Colossus. The Last Guardian was revealed in 2009 and had an extremely rocky development. It was meant to be released in 2011, but missed its window date. Understandably, fans were eager to know if the game had been scrapped or was still in the works, and to their amazement, The Last Guardian released a few years later on the PS4. Reception of the game was good. Fans praised the art style and environmental aspects, as well as the level of detail on the characters. But, all in all, the game was seen as the least popular compared to its predecessors, Ico and Shadow of the Colossus. For me personally, it was my favourite of the three, and I'd like to go into some detail as to why. Let's start with the story. You play as a child whose name we never come to learn. Most people simply call him the boy. You awaken in a large ruin, unknowing of how you got there, but shortly after, you discover a large beast chained up beside you. The beast's name is Trico, and together your goal is to reach the top of a large tower in the centre of the ruins. Trico is seen as hostile to you when you first meet him. He doesn't trust you, and you have to feed him to slowly earn that trust. Over time, the two become inseparable, and you start to rely on each other to complete the various puzzles that you come across. The story is simple, yet done in a way that you can start to learn the origins of both the boy and Trico. A feature that felt unique to the game was the ability to command Trico to help you with puzzles. There was a lot of dismay over how Trico acted. Sometimes he doesn't always obey your commands, which for some players can be seen as a hindrance. But personally, it added a level of realism to Trico's personality. You can do it. I love when he just bats the barrels around.
Take this!
It's like, what are you saying? You haven't got to that part yet. Do you not want the barrel? There you go. I was going a bit off topic there, talking about Trico's AI, but Trico is intended to be a beast and, more importantly, your friend. There are moments in the game you are concerned if he will perhaps betray the boy's trust, but he never does. Trico could be the equivalent to maybe a pet, but I like to think the bond between the boy and Trico has much more. There are many times he rushes to your aid, and so many heartfelt moments shared between the two over the course of the game. I remember my first time playing with my best friend, and there was a moment I got to pet Trico after quite a tense cutscene, and I immediately burst into tears. I don't know why, I just felt so much connection to this animal on the screen that I couldn't contain it. I just found it so cute, and that being in a game and making me feel so connected to the characters, I'll never forget it. Not every game needs endless talking and a load of cutscenes to convey a story, which is why The Last Guardian feels so special to me. There is little dialogue throughout, just a few subtitles here and there to convey the boy's emotions, or to guide you on your way. I can say the same for both Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, which are amazing in their own rights, and just like The Last Guardian, have little dialogue with their characters. I felt so much attachment to Trico, and the drive to see how both the boys and Trico's stories end, that I just couldn't stop playing it. I want to keep a few things spoiler free in this video. as I urge you to experience the game yourself. But I'm sure anyone who has a close friend or beloved pet will be able to relate to the feelings this game can convey to you. I am personally a bit of a crybaby, and I find myself crying over anything related to strong bonds of friendship or love. So when I picked this game up thinking it would be nothing more than a quirky puzzle game, imagine my amazement to find it would be a game that would stick by my heart forever. I usually play games that revolve around combat and action, but The Last Guardian does these genres in a different way. As the boy, you are helpless in any combat situation, and rely on Trico's strength to help you. In return, you can comfort Trico and remove spears from his body that the enemies throw at him. This is yet another example of how important the bond is between them both. You cannot have one without the other, and in certain parts of the game there are solo segments, to which you feel powerless and want to find Trico as fast as possible. For some, the combat can be annoying at times, and I will admit I have had my stressful moments, particularly near the end of the game as it reaches its finale. But I wouldn't change it at all. If you die, you try again. You notice what went wrong, whether it be a mirror stunning Trico in fear, or you simply not being fast enough to outrun your enemies. To also add, I enjoy open world games. The Last Guardian is actually quite a linear game. There are small sections to explore, but little more than that. I find it funny how, when I was playing, I didn't see it as linear at all. The world to me still felt so open, albeit it being so closed, and I feel like that is because of the scale of the environment. You are small, just a boy in a huge world, and standing next to Trico and looking out into the distance of the ruins really emphasises the scale of everything around you. I really do think the game was treated quite harshly at release. The online world, especially popular YouTubers at the time, didn't really appreciate the effort and love that went into this game over the years. I can understand the control gripes to a point, but even if I struggled accidentally jumping off a ledge in panic, it was never enough for it to be a deal breaker and to drop the game. Again, I was so immersed in the unknown origins of Trico and the boy, it spurred me to keep going. Like with any game, if you get stressed at it, the best option is to take a break and come back to it. I could talk about this game for a long while, but the biggest take you can get from my rambles is to play the game yourself. Even if this doesn't seem like the type of game you would usually play, I urge you to give it a try. The Last Guardian feels very forgotten at the moment, and I understand that it was released almost 10 years ago, but it's still a game that feels quite niche to the gaming community. Like I say, its predecessors are still talked about to this day, especially Shadow of the Colossus, but The Last Guardian deserves more. If you like stories of friendship and angst, as well as willing to try your eyes every so often, you should give it a go. Unfortunately, the game is only available on PlayStation, but if you own a PS4 or a PS5, maybe grab it if you see it on the store. This game will always be one of my favourites, and I shall never forget it. I still end up tearing up when listening to the soundtrack, which is absolutely beautiful. Trico and the boy are one, if not my favourite gaming duos in history, and even if they are far apart, the bond between them shall never be forgotten. Not again! Oh my god! My heart hurts so badly every time I get to pet him.